Washington mornings on the Mall. 105.9 FM. And AM 630. WMAL.
8:07 on WMAL, where Washington comes to talk. Brian Wilson, Larry O'Connor, and on the line is Lanny Davis. And actually, I've been looking forward to talking to Lanny this week because I think he has, in his former position as White House Counsel during the Clinton years, he has some things that he can bring to the table to help us understand what it was that should have happened with this information about David Petraeus. Lanny, how are you?
Well, I'm fine. I'm maybe a little out of the mainstream flow here, but I don't think David Petraeus needed to resign, and I think the focus of the investigation shouldn't be on his private life, but on the FBI Tampa office's decision. While we've got cyber attack threats from Iran and China, investigating a couple of emails from a lady friend turned over to the cyber crimes unit, and which had nothing to do with Petraeus, national security, intelligence, just about two women, and no crime, even close to harassment, sufficient for an FBI to open an investigation, much less to metastasize into reading private emails.
Well, Lanny, as you know, sometimes
Director Mueller is the place we need to begin. I respect the FBI greatly, have a lot of friends there. He needs to ask the Tampa office, why did you do this?
I got lots of questions, but as you know, sometimes when you go in to look at one thing, you end up finding other things, and you can't turn a blind eye to them. So,
correct.
Yeah, but so let me ask you, though, this is the thing that I've been really wanting to ask you about, is because I've talked to some former Justice Department officials who say to me that, look, the way this should have done is somebody along the way should have said, you know what, there are potentially some national security implications to all this. If the director of the CIA is involved in an extramarital affair, he then could be subject to blackmail over that affair. So there are national security implications. That should have gone to the director of the FBI. There would be a phone call made to the Attorney General's office, and then I'm told that normally in a situation like that, when there are national security implications, a phone call would be made from the Attorney General to the White House Counsel. Now, in your experience, is that something that might happen in a situation like that?
Sure, but it depends upon the nature of the information and the seriousness and validity and verification of the information. So I don't disagree with anything you just said. Normally, if it gets to the level where there is a threat to national security and the CIA directors involved, of course the president and the White House should know.
Okay, now we'd go to the White House Counsel.
Don't know what point the evidence reached to necessitate that. That's the only question that's unanswered, and there should be full disclosure, and I support hearings on this subject because it is a very important question. But I think the hearings have to start, with all due respect. There were no national security implications.
I don't know. I'm not sure you can say that, Lanny.
Hold on. Right in the beginning, the extremely difficult legal decision to invade emails requires a subpoena that shows a very high level of risk. You don't go into a hard drive without a judge or somebody saying there is serious risk here because of all the privacy laws.
I get all that,
That's an unanswered question that I'd like to have answered.
I get all that, and I think you raise very good points. But let me just drill down on one more thing.
Sure.
If indeed the White House Counsel in this particular case was notified, does then the White House Counsel have a decision to make about whether or not you take it to the president?
No. In the White House, there is no decision by a White House counsel. It goes to the president.
Okay.
And Lanny, I mean, aren't you sort of boxed in with your position here? I mean, you sort of have to say that there's no national security implication here.
No.
Because
I regard this as very serious. This is not political for me. My problem is law enforcement judgments, which, by the way, are good faith judgments. I can second guess them. It doesn't mean the agents in the Tampa office aren't great FBI agents. But I'm saying they made a misjudgment based on what I know now. I'm open to changing my mind.
But if the director of the CIA was conducting
that email turned over to them by some lady friend of an FBI agent who turns out to be an outstanding FBI agent who sends photographs that are sort of embarrassing. But why did that launch into a cyber and crime investigation leading to a subpoena for emails that then discovered Petraeus?
I understand, but
after that, and that's the question I have.
But the question I'm trying to get to is whether they should have gone into the emails and discovered what they discovered is one question. But once they discovered what they discovered about the CIA director having a secret affair, at that point, it is a national security issue, is it not?
It could be. Yeah, I agree with you. And once they stumbled over it, and we are separating these two questions. I'm concerned about the first, but the second is once they stumble over the emails with General Petraeus, somebody has to decide: is this at a level where national security can be compromised, extortion, revelation of security, and classified information?
And so
that's a different judgment.
So
that's a different judgment. I don't know enough facts to know. I'm saying that once all that was done, and he went public, and he said, "I did this," he didn't need to resign because there's no extortion possible once he goes public.
But before he went public, as a former White House counsel, are you troubled, though, that according to the White House, they were not told by the FBI or the Department of Justice that this was happening?
The answer is I would be troubled, and I'd like to know more as a citizen, not as a Democrat or as a former White House whatever. I'd like to know when the Attorney General, who is an old friend of mine, I'm a great supporter of Eric Holder.
Yes, we know.
When did he know that there were national security implications that could bring down, meaning national security implications? Let's be very clear that the emails might have shown that revelations were made about classified information or there was an extortion threat. Those are the two national security issues involving a CIA director.
What do you make?
There was evidence of that, then I think the president should have been told.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on you, but what do you make of the fact that they just on Monday went into Broadwell's home in North Carolina and grabbed her computer, and now we're hearing stories that apparently there were a lot of classified documents on her computer. Her security clearance has been voided, and they're now looking at the possibility, I guess, of a criminal case against her because she was not handling classified materials properly.
Well, we don't know that. They were on her computer, and she did have...
Well, classified materials should not be on her home computer, should it not?
Had security clearances. So
no, but you can't take that... FBI directors got fired for doing that.
Ms. Broadwell could have done absolutely nothing wrong if she had security clearances and having security information on her computer.
Lanny, FBI directors have been,
lawful.
CIA directors...
We don't know whether she did anything wrong yet.
Yeah, hold it. I get all that.
Her lawyer is going to...
Yeah. Okay, I get all that, due process and all that, but CIA directors have lost their jobs because they had classified material on their home computers.
Right, but you just said, I agree, and that's a serious issue. But she had security clearances. She could have obtained those documents from others, not from General Petraeus.
I'm not suggesting that. The fact that she had them is, again, a national security issue.
Regardless of where she got them.
If she has classified documents on her computer and she has security clearances, there may be a question that she shouldn't put classified documents on a computer that isn't secured. But if she has used those classified documents in a way that's consistent, I was at the highest level of classified status when I was on President Bush's Privacy and Civil Liberties Board. I would definitely advise not to put anything on a laptop that might be lost and found. But it may not be illegal if she had the security clearances and didn't obtain that information from General Petraeus.
All right, Lanny Davis, thank you so much. You're always so good at this. Hey, really quickly, I know that you're a big fan of Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State. What do you think of Susan Rice? Do you agree that she...
now you're opening up...
but only quick.
There should be no dispute about her intent. The judgment to put her on television is worth a debate. But her intent is that she read what she was told.
Is that what we want from a Secretary of State?
That's been published, and she should not be criticized. The judgment to put her on TV that early without knowing all the facts, that's easy to second-guess.
Fair enough.
It's valid, too. But I don't understand the criticism of Susan Rice. She did not intentionally mislead anyone. We know that she read from talking points provided to her. They were erroneous from the intelligence community.
You know what, Lanny?
She ain't going to get
keep listening to the show, and you'll understand the criticism. Thanks for joining us.